Varsity Learning Tools provides highly effective technology and content for educators to assess the progress of their students. Technology to make your job a little easier as an educator. You understand the importance of academic success and you work hard to ensure your students achieve it. Varsity Learning Tools is here to help you manage that process with a user-friendly system to give assignments and evaluate both individual and group progress. Free access to 100,000 plus professional practice problems across 150 plus subjects. View our existing content. Free learning tools. Test your knowledge, improve your scores and leverage our free testing system. Detailed results and performance statistics. Individual question analysis and explanations. Percentile ranking score v time distribution. Time spent per question. One all her life Miss Elizabeth Dwarres had been a sore trial to her relations to a woman of means. She ruled tyrannously over a large number of impecunious cousins, using her bank balance like the scorpions of Rehoboam to chastise them, and, like many another pious creature, for their souls' good, making all and sundry excessively miserable. 3. Nurtured in the evangelical ways current in her youth, she insisted that her connections should seek salvation according to her own lights, and, with harsh tongue and with bitter jibe, made it her constant business to persuade them of their extreme unworthiness, for she arranged lives as she thought fit, and ventured not only to order the costume and habits, but even the inner thought of those about her. The Last Judgment could have no terrors for any that had faced her searching examination. 5. She invited to stay with her in succession various poor ladies who presumed on a distant tie to call her Aunt Eliza, and they accepted her summons, more imperious than a royal command, with gratitude by no means unmixed with fear, bearing the servitude meekly as a cross which in the future would meet due testamentary reward. In sentence 2, what is the meaning of a woman of means? In sentence 2, what is the meaning of a woman of means? Your answer, Miss Dwaris is petty. Correct answer, Miss Dwaris is rich. Explanation. While elsewhere in the passage there is evidence of Miss Dwaris' cruelty, the phrase in question concerns her financial status. Even if you weren't familiar with the term person of means as a euphemism for wealthy person, you could note the contrast in sentence 2 between this euphemism and the impecunious or impoverished cousins. Passage adapted from W. Somerset Maugham's The Merry-Go-Round, 1904. This passage is adapted from President Woodrow Wilson's speech to Congress, 1917, asking for a declaration of war against Germany. It is a distressing and oppressive duty, gentlemen of the Congress, which I have performed in thus addressing you. There are, it may be, many months of fiery trial and sacrifice ahead of us. It is a fearful thing to lead this great peaceful people into war, into the most terrible and disastrous of all wars, civilization itself seeming to be in the balance. But the right is more precious than peace, and we shall fight for the things which we have always carried nearest our hearts, for democracy, for the right of those who submit to authority to have a voice in their own governments, for the rights and liberties of small nations, for a universal dominion of right by such a concert of free peoples as shall bring peace and safety to all nations and make the world itself at last free. To such a task we can dedicate our lives and our fortunes, everything that we are and everything that we have, with the pride of those who know that the day has come when America is privileged to spend her blood and her might for the principles that gave her birth and happiness and the peace which she has treasured. God helping her, she can do no other. From the passage, the reader can infer that President Wilson believes that America's participation in World War I will be costly, opposes America's entry into World War I, but is being forced into asking for a declaration of war by Congress, believes that America and achieve a quick and easy victory by its entry into World War I, believes that Americans' entry into World War I is long overdue. From the passage, the reader can infer that President Wilson, your answer, opposes America's entry into World War I, but is being forced into asking for a declaration of war by Congress. Correct answer, believes that America's participation in World War I will be costly. Explanation. President Wilson states that America faces many months of fiery trial and sacrifice by entering the most terrible and disastrous of wars. His speech gives reasons why the American people must undergo such sacrifice to defend the liberties upon which our nation was founded. One Miss Brooke had that kind of beauty which seems to be thrown into relief by poor dress too. Her hand and wrist were so finely formed that she could wear sleeves not less bare of style than those in which the Blessed Virgin appeared to Italian painters. 3. Miss Brooke's plain dressing was due to mixed conditions, in most of which her sister shared, for the pride of being ladies had something to do with it. The Brooke connections, though not exactly aristocratic, were unquestionably good. If you inquired backward for a generation or two, you would not find any yard measuring or parcel tying forefathers, anything lower than an admiral or a clergyman, and there was even an ancestor discernible as a Puritan gentleman who served under Cromwell, but afterwards conformed, and managed to come out of all political troubles as the proprietor of a respectable family estate. 5 young women of such birth, living in a quiet country house, and attending a village church hardly larger than a parlor, Naturally regarded frippery as the ambition of a huckster's daughter. In sentence 4, what does proprietor mean? In sentence 4, what does proprietor mean? Your answer: challenger. Correct answer: owner. Explanation: the surrounding context is